soccer moms, soccer dads, wine drinkers, and beer drinkers. Welcome to the Middle Age Moments Podcast, where they discuss everyday topics that your basic bitch
Who are you calling a bitch?
and grumpy ass men you believe this shit face daily. Hosted by your favorite imperfect couple, Chad and Erika Jump.
Hello and welcome to Middle Age Moment Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Chad Jump. I'm sitting with the librarian with glasses on, Erika Jump.
Can't help it. My eyes are failing. I'm middle age.
I'm not going to lie. I'm trying to not picture you wearing glasses in a library trying to give me a book.
Would you be in like the little kids section, or are you reading something bigger and more complex?
I'm reading Bo Jackson's.
Of course you are.
It's the last book I ever read.
Because it's for Book It, and you need to read it for the 10th time.
It's for Book It, and it's the only book I know how to read. But no, we're here for episode 10. It's kind of a milestone moment. So we have posted on our social web that we are going to have a special guest, and we are.
The anticipation is killing us. Even the kids are calling and wondering who's going to be on the episode. So it's clearly not one of them.
Well, you're going to have to hold on just a little bit longer because I'm not going to share that information, nor will you.
All right, fine.
But usually, right when we start the show, we usually have a conversation about what has been going on. And unfortunately, what's been going on has been kind of lame. But I decided to implement a segment into the show called
And I said, hey, yeah, yeah, hey, yeah. I said, hey, what's going on?
and it's
Oh, wow. So she's on our show now, huh?
well, you know, if you were a producer and editor, you could have Taylor Swift or Travis Kelce
I'm just
on
the
show.
staff. I'm just one of the staff.
Yes,
the janitor even.
You're okay.
I'm just
whatever.
cleaning the studio. That's all I'm doing.
Sounds good to me. So yes, we have what's going on with the jumps. And so we briefly discuss what's going on or what we have going on or planned. And there's nothing going on this week. It's been kind of light because of work. And so do you want to tell everybody the big news?
Well, there's a different person living at our house now. And by different person, the dogs don't recognize this person. I'm sure like the Amazon guys wondering who lives here now, who's getting all these packages.
The neighbors called the police.
The neighbors are
wondering
worried.
if somebody broke in.
And I'm going to be right honest with you. I wasn't sure who this person
The neighbors
was either.
texted. Actually, one of the neighbors texted me and asked me if you were cheating on me.
Oh, whatever.
So I shaved my beard, which I don't do, but like once every 3 years. And doggone it, every time I do it, I regret it every single time.
So you haven't done it every 3 years because we've been together 5.
I have. I just trimmed it really short.
Oh,
But this
not
time,
like this.
This time I went above and beyond.
Yeah.
I took the Amazon clippers
Oh my goodness.
to my face and I used a razor, which might as well have been the
Sandpaper.
dullest razor on the planet.
Yeah.
To shave my face, and I ended up getting razor burn and rash so bad that I could not sleep for 48 hours.
Yeah. It's been a real great time over. So what's going on at the jump house? Not sleeping.
That's it. Nothing.
I will tell you that when you sent me the picture at work, I was a little startled. I've always told you when we've talked about this, we'll love each other no matter what. Hair loss, weight loss. But however, please don't do it again.
Yes, that's the very first thing she said. Chad, I saw the picture on the social web.
Yeah.
And I'm going to politely ask you to never do that again.
I think the dogs are going to ask you the same thing.
The dogs wouldn't even go outside. They didn't even know who I was. They thought I was a stranger letting them outside. So anyway, that is what's going on. And so now we're coming up on our sponsorship with
88 Farms. So, Chad, I did some research for our sponsorship today.
All right now.
And I listened to other podcasts and their sponsorship.
Did you listen to David Spade by chance?
I did, which I thought that we were bad at reading sponsorships, but man, we kicked those guys' butts. However,
And they do that shit for a living.
I know they're stand-up comedians.
And they're actors.
Right. So what I realized, though, that David Spade and Dana Carvey did was they present facts when they talk about their sponsorship.
Oh, okay.
So they do, because they do some research, and they have a sponsorship of a meat as well.
Yes.
So like 88 Farms, but it's something different. They're not our sponsors, so we won't mention them. But what their fun fact is that they found out all their listeners eat food.
Eat meat.
And eat meat. Yeah.
Yes.
Did you know that all of our listeners eat meat and eat food?
Well, probably not all of our listeners eat meat, but yes, I get where you're going.
So why not choose your meat from a local business and grill up some delicious burgers for your whole family and get your hamburger patties from 88 Farms. They have their special still going on this week with their new product, 1/3 pound ground beef patties, a 3-pack of 5-ounce patties for $9 for the pack. And you can still get free shipping if you put in the code FREESHIP24 at your checkout. So there's no better way to support local farmers than to buy from a local farm. And like I said, Chad and I know these guys personally, and we are very excited to see what's next for them over at 88 Farms. So you can place your order at 88farms.com.
Ooh, that was way better than David Spade.
I know, they really like it. It's flopping around.
I like what you did there.
Thanks.
So I think it's time for...
That's hot. 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 This is hot.
So with the first pick of That's Hot, Paris gave us, do you currently have a March Madness bracket? You know, it's March Madness time.
I do.
I feel like you stole mine.
Well, all right. So you emailed them to me and said, hey, can you print these off?
I did.
And I said, sure. I brought you home copies so you can mark off your bracket.
Mm-hmm.
However, I've also pretended like your bracket's mine.
Yeah, and based off of the looks of it, you're not doing very well already.
I'm not. And, I put us in the running for $5,000 worth of Miskie's pizzas. So if we win, we're having a pizza party for every listener that's on and all of our neighbors if we win that $5,000 worth of pizza.
Oh, Mom's really going to like that.
But I'm like, well, and so I'm putting it in and I'm like, Chad does enough research. He's good at this. Yeah, your bracket stinks, but I will tell you, I put in the women's bracket.
No research was done on my behalf. It was just blind leading the blind.
Did you just pick teams by colors and if you like their mascots or not?
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh, well, that's nice.
I pretty much did that.
That's nice. Well,
I just went with the favorites, I think, and that's all I did.
Yeah, you have 4 number 1s in the final 4.
Well, yeah, that's what's going to happen.
I don't know.
As long as Kansas isn't a number 1, I will put 4 number 1s in the bracket.
Okay, I like it.
So the next thing we have is, boy, this is one of my favorite topics. If you haven't watched it, I definitely recommend it. I actually recommended it earlier to a friend of mine. It is called The McBee Dynasty. It's on Peacock. And if you like trash TV, this is must-see television.
It's kind of like the Real Housewives of Gallatin, Missouri.
Yeah, I was thinking more like the New Age Duck Dynasty without the Christian.
Okay. Yeah, so they're from Gallatin, Tennessee. So we like...
Missouri.
Or Gallatin, Missouri. Sorry.
Yes.
But we like what was it? Who Wants to Marry a Millionaire? And he was a
Joe
farmer.
Millionaire. Yes.
And we like them. We've actually seen them out in public together, the couple.
Got a picture with Kala and Steve.
Yeah, and I like them. I think they're really great people.
Oh, and Jackson Mahomes.
However, his dad, this guy's dad, he is a loser. He's a pig. He's gross.
I think it's for show. And I think he just does it because it's going to bring ratings. And
do you think it's scripted?
Oh, for sure. Like
really?
They were wearing clothes in one episode that they were wearing 3 days before. So I mean, it was definitely cut up.
Yeah.
But it's still must watch. Like the last 2 episodes, like
oh yeah,
we had to stay up like till midnight, which is not our gig, we had to push through.
And we all looked at each other and we're like,
We're doing this. We're staying up.
And then when it was over, we were like, is there a season 2? Google and see if there's a season 2.
No, not yet. It
No.
hasn't been picked up. But I will say, if you haven't watched the McBee, and before I even say that, they were retweeting and Instagramming their fans during the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if you go to some of their Instagram feeds,
Yeah.
you'll see that my name has been responded to, and Kala and Steven remember taking the picture with myself and Jackson Mahomes.
Oh, wow. We're real Kansas City celebrities.
We are.
However, one of the episodes, they were at a restaurant we'd been to, and I got all excited and texted my friends, and I said, we sat at this exact table.
Same table. I wish I would have known he was sitting there. I would have told him to grab my gum underneath the chair.
Oh, boy.
So the next thing that we have from Paris is, and I know that a lot of people are getting really tired of this, but Travis Kelce is in talks to host Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
What happened to Jeff Foxworthy?
Well, I can tell you, I don't know that Travis Kelce is smarter than a fifth grader.
I was thinking the same thing.
Guy's a millionaire. He's can catch a football, probably the greatest tight end of all time. He's smart enough to bag a billionaire girlfriend.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's smarter than a fifth grader.
So you think trivia, he's not very smart.
I don't think so.
But Chad, if he's just asking the questions, he doesn't have to be smart because the answers are right in his hands.
Have you heard him read a sponsorship on his podcast?
I have.
It's almost like David Spade.
It is pretty bad. But I like watching like Celebrity Jeopardy. And so I'm kind of excited if he does have celebrities on there, like who he's going to have on there. Because sometimes you get these comedians that you think, oh, well, because they play a stupid character on a TV show that they're stupid, but some of them are like Ivy League graduates, or they, I
don't give David Spade and Dana Carvey a pass because those guys, after watching only one episode of their podcast of Superfly, those guys are really dumb. Like they are who they say they are.
They are not smarter than a fifth grader.
They are definitely not smarter than a fifth grader. So kudos to you, Travis Kelce, for taking on fifth graders in public.
Wow.
So the next thing we have, which we watched, I don't even know how it got on our TV.
Well, I was watching the news and we were talking and then it just came on because we weren't going to watch it.
You know how I know you're old?
Because I was watching the late news.
Because you were watching the news.
I watched 5 o'clock that night and 6 o'clock.
Well, yeah, I wake up at 4 and 5 in the morning and flip to Fox News and then see what CNN's got to say and MSNBC and try to make sense of it all.
And the weather. Don't forget the
and
weather.
Then I go to the Weather Channel and hope that they're right. So, yes, I get it. I mean, that's where I'm at. I mean, if you're not watching the news at our age, you're probably missing out on a lot of stuff.
Well, and it came on and I immediately was like, oh, Oprah looks good. And that was the first thing I said because she had a pantsuit on and her shoes matched her pantsuit. And I had no idea what she was even going to talk about.
Well, apparently she came out and before the show and acknowledged the fact that she took a semi-glutide, which is Ozempic type shot to lose the weight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so we've discussed this topic with Bo and Nancy.
Yeah.
And it's actually a diabetic shot, right? Yeah. And so I actually, before I started losing weight, I went to the doctor and I inquired about it because all the news stations were talking about it. Like, go talk to your doctor, blah, blah, blah. And my doctor was like, are you diabetic? And I was like, no. And he's like, well, then you should probably not take the shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But apparently there's doctors that aren't like mine. And then maybe I should have found a different doctor. I don't know. But she apparently took the shot.
And still takes it.
And lost the weight. Well, then she had a bunch of other people on the show that took other shots like Monjourno. What was the other ones that was on there?
I don't remember, but they all have kind of funky names.
Zepbound, something like that. But anyway, they all were talking about their experiences and how it's changed their life. And there was one girl on there that she was saying how her life changed not just with weight, but how people view her children.
Yeah.
Just because she's skinnier.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And which I never really thought about, like,
yeah.
Wow, you're going to treat my kid different because I'm skinny?
Yeah.
Like, that's weird.
Yeah.
But now, just like how things are with Oprah, we're all out of Ozempic now.
Yeah. Well,
Can't get it anymore. Diabetics are dying, but we know what? We're going to have a skinnier United States.
Well, you know what Oprah did because she didn't want the backlash. She actually used to be a big Weight Watchers sponsor.
Yes.
And so she made sure to drop that sponsorship so
she can have Weight Watchers on the show.
So she could, yeah.
And what I was telling you while watching the show, like, Weight Watchers should probably like change their model, right?
Yeah.
Because Weight Watchers was always eat this, lose weight fast.
Right, yeah.
But now you see other companies that,
they're trying to get your mental well-being better to make your overall body better.
And it's all about portioning your food too.
Sure, like Factor and
right.
stuff like that.
So if you just portion your food right,
yeah.
If you, like I was telling one of your friends earlier this week, if you live to eat and not eat to live,
yeah,
you can lose weight.
Right.
So like
whenever
I was losing weight, it was like my mentality was, so people on Survivor go on Survivor for 30 days.
Yeah.
And when you watch Survivor, you see how much weight those people lose in those 30 days.
Yeah, a lot.
Well, they're eating to survive, not surviving to eat, right?
Right.
So, did I say that right?
Yeah.
I think I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you eat like fruits and berries and things
and
like that.
mosquitoes and bug. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Drink coconut juice and things like that.
Eat sticks and rocks.
Yeah, but they eat they eat like they eat enough to live, right?
Yeah.
And so if you can kind of force yourself to doing that, what happened to me was I did exactly that. That was my weight program.
Yeah.
And what happened is I lost 20 pounds within what was it, 3 weeks?
It was very, very fast. And which it makes a lot of women jealous because men can like stop looking at food and then they're like, look at me, I'm skinny.
Yeah, but the other 10 was very hard to lose after that. But when I started doing that, that was my mentality. And what I figured out what happened is I had shrunk my stomach as well.
Yeah.
And so whenever people go in to get like lap band surgery, which my father had, he would get a lap band surgery and it would limit what he can eat.
Sure.
So by me shrinking my stomach, I basically did the same thing, but I did it naturally.
Yep.
But what you'll find people doing with those lap band surgeries, and even people that have shrunk their stomach, is they kind of move side to side. Because I had a friend that had it, did it, and he would move side to side to make more room for some taters and gravy.
Really?
And so, why did you spend the money for the lap band surgery when you're just moving side to side to make more room?
That's weird. I didn't ever think about something like that.
Yeah.
But, Oprah was the right person to do that show because Oprah, when you think of Oprah, and Oprah has had, out of any person probably that you can think of that's famous, has been judged about her weight, Oprah was that person. They made fun of her on nightly talk shows. I mean, they made fun of her everywhere. She was on magazines. Oprah ate a whole chicken in 5 minutes. I mean, and Oprah is a really good journalist, whether you believe whatever Oprah stands for, but she's a really good journalist.
I see her name a lot on walls and stuff in Nashville for some reason.
She's from there. That's why.
Oh, okay.
But she's from that area, actually.
Gotcha.
But Barbara Walters, I never had struggles with weight and was just a normal looking lady. And Barbara Walters was held as this great journalist, and Oprah, also a great journalist, but people think about her as being super fat or then really skinny and then super fat again, and unfair. So when she talks about weight and struggles, people listen because she's relatable. And now that she's saying, I'm doing this shot too, I was like, boy, I bet people are on the phone making appointments with their doctors tonight.
Yeah. So it was actually an informative special. If you haven't seen it, you can watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's hot. So now we're moving on to what the biggest reveal of it all is, the episode 10 reveal of the special guest.
I'm so excited, even though I can see the special guest because the person's right next to me.
So the special guest is we actually asked her to come on the show. She was hesitant at first. I think I had to feed her a box of wine to get her to do it, but I didn't end up having to do that. But she joins us all the way back from her trip around the world.
She was a snowbird for a while.
She was down in Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
She was down on the beach of the coast of the Gulf. She's been
living her best life,
visiting her children and grandchildren on the regular, living the retired life. Let me introduce the birthing mother of a legend.
Jesus.
My mom.
Welcome, Linda.
Also known as Linda or Nana.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So Nana, my mom, what would you like to be called?
She'd
It
like to be
depends.
called Queen Linda for this episode.
Yeah, Queen Linda.
Yeah.
Meatloaf Mom.
Meatloaf Mom.
Meatloaf Mom.
You got it. Well,
Meatloaf Mom.
So my Meatloaf Mom is here, and we are going to discuss a few topics that we've kind of put together. And as usual, they know the topics, but we do not know the answers, which is what makes this fun. And so this is not scripted. This is just a conversation amongst adults, or two adults and then me.
Which we had to, it's kind of funny. We were already all having a conversation, and we had to remember that we were doing a podcast tonight because she got here, we started talking, and then we kind of forgot. The dogs did not forget. The dogs are like, hello.
The dogs are like, 45 minutes is up. So the first topic we're going to discuss with Meatloaf Mom is lessons that we have all learned the hard way. And who wants to start?
Oh, I've got some stories.
All right.
Well, I want to let you guys talk and me listen in. I really do. So
I want you to come up with one of them yourself as well.
A lesson I've learned the hard way?
Not right this
yeah.
second. We'll let Meatloaf Mom go first.
Okay.
She seems more prepared than we are.
Okay.
Yes. Well, we all have stories.
Yeah.
We all have stories as we're growing up. But, we all have experiences. We all have stories.
I feel
some
like
that we
she's
like
reading
to share,
to a bunch of kids right now.
and some that maybe we don't want to share.
Oh.
But we've all been there.
Yeah. Yep.
Truth be known, we've all been there. Some we want to share, some we don't.
Yeah.
But as we grow up and as we middle-aged people know, we've been through it. How many times when you were young, you thought as long as you got money, as long as you have checks, you have money.
That's a good one.
How many times when you were young?
Check. Hell, I thought you needed cash. What do you want me to write this for?
Oh, we got plastic now. Oh, no. It used to be checks.
Yeah.
It used to be checks.
You are right. You are right. Yeah.
Man, she hit it out of the park right off the gate.
Yeah. So why do you say that, though?
So what is the lesson that you learned from checks?
Move to plastic. Forget the checks.
Yeah.
It takes too long to write them out.
Yeah.
You want to hear a funny story? So I've only been to jail one time.
Oh, okay.
In my entire life.
Your mom already knows this part, though, right?
I don't know if she does or not.
Oh, okay.
But I got pulled over one time, and it was in the middle of the winter, and it was literally a block away from my house, which my mom lived right next door to me at the time.
I'm hearing this for the first time.
This is breaking news.
And I got pulled over a block away from the house by the Belton Police Department, and he ran my ID. And truth be told, I probably should have went to jail for something else, but I didn't. So he pulls me over, and he says, "Sir, step out of the car." And I go, "What am I going to jail for?" And he goes, "You have a $7 bad check to Casey's in 1996. It was like 6 years after I wrote it. I went to jail on a $7 bad check to Casey's. So my roommate at the time, I call him up. Luckily, he was still awake, and he had to come bail me out over a $7 bad check to Casey's Pizza.
Mom doesn't answer the phone on the things like that.
It's too late. I'm sorry. The
Too
ringer
late.
is off.
Shit, you wouldn't answer the phone, no way. That was past 8:30.
Pick it up. Who is this? Oh, he doesn't live here. Sorry.
That was past 8:30. But true, That's a true story. I went to jail on a $7 bad check to Casey's.
So you were under the impression that just because you had checks, you did have money.
I always push the envelope. Like, this is gonna clear, and I'm gonna put the $7 in, and then you know what? I would find something else to spend that $7 on, and the next thing you know, bam! Next thing you know, $7 turned into a $45 charge plus $7, and then it turned into a going to jail and bonding out. Then it turned into hiring a lawyer. So that $7 ended up costing me like $2,500.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Like I said, we all have stories. Some we like to share, and some we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely relatable. I can take that one.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Do you have one, Erika?
Well, I will say lessons that I learned the hard way. Like my parents would tell me, like, well, you'll get this when you're older. And nobody wants to think that their parents know what they're talking about, especially when you're in your late teens, early 20s. You want to think they're old, they have no idea. And my parents were like, well, if you do this, this will happen. And you know what? I felt like at like almost 30, my parents could predict the damn future. Like my dad would say something to me and I'm like, oh my gosh, is he reading my text messages? Is he listening in on my phone calls? Because I felt like, and I think I was pretty easy going as a kid, but I know that I gave them some headaches. I mean, I got pregnant when I was 18 and, and they knew like I was going to learn this the hard way because I wasn't going to college now because I had a new baby. And so my parents even said, like, raising a kid is very tough. And I was like, psh, I read this parenting book.
I've had practice with my Cabbage Patch Kids. Are
I
you
had
kidding
this
me?
flower baby at school I carried around for like a week. I know what it's like to be. I babysat. Holy moly. That was a big reality check raising a kid and trying, even having a husband and raising a kid. I was like, how do people do this without a family? How do people raise these little crying things? But yeah, I think a lot of like, and you think your parents don't know anything. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, they knew way
I get
more.
it. I get it.
Yeah. And
I get
even
it.
like, and I know like you seeing us now grown up or him grown up, because she didn't get to see me grow up. I'm sorry, you didn't have a real legend, just a half left legend.
Okay, we have a male legend and we
That's
have a
right,
female
right.
legend. Let's face it.
But like you see them growing up and making life choices, and you're like, ooh, that one's gonna hurt, and you don't want that, but you're like, yeah, ouch, I see that coming for you, and you'd want to protect them, but at the same time, you're like, they're gonna have to learn this one the hard way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hate me now, love me later.
Yeah.
Hate
Yeah.
me now, love me later.
Yeah. Do you have something that you learned the hard way over there, Mr. Jump?
Well, I mean, I've kind of brought it up once before in a previous episode, but I have the ability to like express myself freely, and at times in my past, and it's even happened today, that I had to be a little bit more strategic about how I say things instead of just saying them off the cuff. Like, I think it's very well documented by the people that know me that I lost a very good paying job for standing my ground in what I believe in. And I think that you should do that, but just know that standing your ground for what you believe in also comes with a cost.
Yeah.
So I stood my ground at a previous employment, and what I believe in, and I was right. The handbook would say that I was right, but you still are going to suffer the consequences for your actions. And so, like, this time I was kind of in a similar situation, but this time with a business partner, and I was very methodical about how I was so happy that how I did it that I actually shared it with you.
Yeah. You did.
And I actually
We framed it and put it on the refrigerator.
It's
sending a copy home with your mom.
I woke up at 4 a.m. this morning to methodically, mathematically, however you want to say it, make sure that I worded everything perfect and buttoned it up so perfect. And once I did, I I got kudos, like it was cheered from the highest mountain.
Yeah.
And so I know that there's been times that I had the right to remain silent, but there was also times that I didn't have the ability to
Yeah.
remain silent. So that's always been a lesson that I had to learn the hard way.
Yeah, I think, and I tell my own, I'm like, my own kiddos, I'm like, is this the hill you want to die on? Is this really what we're doing here?
Yes.
And we have, and we have Harrison was a 2020 grad, and Harrison almost learned something really hard because he was going to not finish high school, and he was 13 days away, and I was like, are we going to learn this the
During
hard
COVID,
way?
stay at home, work,
Yeah.
do homework from home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he was like, I'm so glad. Like, even now he looks at us and he's like, thank you. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chad, I just want to say, though, that you did learn that at a very young age. And I would like to share this with you. You were only about 5 years old. You may or may not remember it. But you tried to ride a bicycle up a light pole.
I did.
You
It
did.
Oh.
wasn't
Yes.
a light pole, it was a basketball goal.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Yes. Correct me. You are correct.
Thank God we just got rid of ours now that I
And-
know this.
And I was at work,
You were?
and your sister called the ambulance, and they took you to the emergency room.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so it
You
was
had
not
a-
successful to ride the bicycle up the basketball
Oh,
pole.
yes, he did it up good. Totally dislocated his elbow, bone sticking out, 5 years old.
Oh.
So imagine tying your shoes
Uh-huh.
and you're putting a knot in your shoestring and you're pulling it tight.
Yeah.
That's what my arm looked like.
Oh, well, that's
Yes.
fun while you're
It
at
was
work.
like all
Oh, yes.
it was all knotted up. Like
Paging Linda, your hospital's on the phone for you.
Oh, yes.
that's what
yes.
happened.
Your baby is in the emergency room. And I walk into the emergency room and give them authorization to
Pull the plug.
replace. Yeah.
Pull the plug.
Pull the plug. He's dead. He's gone.
They take
Let
him
him go.
in.
This one's broken.
They take him in. They pull him out.
Mhm.
Everything's fine. He's all grins. He's wide awake. He says, "Mom, everything's fine. I didn't even cry."
Oh,
I
that's
cried. Make no mistake, I cried.
Little did he know they'd given him a shot.
good.
A good one.
And that's where it all went south from there. 5 years old. I've never recovered.
Look at
5
me.
years.
Chad's
Look
been
at me.
addicted to morphine ever since.
Look at me. I didn't even cry.
Yeah, I did cry because that bike got stolen like 2 weeks later.
Oh,
Yeah.
What about the basketball goal? Did the basketball goals?
It
The
survived.
basketball goal survived. And
It
you know what
survived.
was really funny was? It was a very odd thing because it was just like a 4x4 post that was
Mhm.
holding up the goal.
Mhm.
And it was wooden, and I was riding it with my arms out, like way out to the side, and all it did was take off a piece of skin and pushed my bone in just enough to make it turn into a shoestring knot. That's all I did. I didn't do anything crazy. I didn't like run head into it. It literally just nicked my arm enough to. I mean, apparently, it was a lot harder than I thought.
Deductible. Got your mom out of her work.
He
Yeah.
learned the hard way.
The hard way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
My
learned the hard way.
mom bitched about having to take off work that day. I
Oh
never
my-
recovered from it.
All moms do. Well, I told the story about sending Harrison.
Don't
to
you realize
school.
I'm a single mother trying to make food for the table?
See, it's the same story
Sorry,
with Harrison.
Mom.
Yeah. Meatloaf mom.
Meatloaf
Trying to make it.
Mom.
Trying to make it.
Yeah,
Trying to make it.
I do remember that. I didn't realize I was 5, but I do remember it. So that's saying something.
Oh my gosh. I can't
Mhm.
even imagine being paged at work and thinking that your 5-year-old is at the oh my gosh. That would have
Taken there by ambulance.
by ambulance. Well, why not? I
Of
mean, if we're
course.
gonna go, we might as well go the most expensive
course.
ride possible.
Sure. Some things never change.
Yeah.
You just paid that off probably by now, didn't you?
Some things never
Yeah. She's still getting a medical bill for it. It says
He's
evil Knievel.
He still likes those expensive rides.
Yeah.
You
I do.
just speaking of which, you just got a new ride, right?
I do. You haven't even seen it since
I
you've
have
been-
not seen
since
it yet.
You walked straight in and walked straight to the microphone.
I did.
So yeah, you haven't even got to see the midlife crisis that is in the garage.
Not yet. Not
So
yet.
the next thing, unless you guys have anything else,
Do you have anything else, Linda? You would like any fun stories you'd like to share? I like that.
No, I think
Okay.
the rest are R-rated.
Oh,
do-
okay.
well, I mean, I'll throw you a softball. So just for the sake of me getting picked on for the next, however long I live, would you like to share with the 3 people that are listening, because you're here, because you're not going to listen to it twice.
She might.
So there's that eliminates 4. So do you want to share with everybody, because I know that you really like this nickname that you gave me that doesn't get said, so I figured I'd throw a softball out for you to not only share the nickname, but how
Oh.
you came up with my nickname.
Okay. I've never heard this.
Mr. Chad Jump, alias Buns.
Oh,
Buns.
well.
Yes.
Why is
That's,
that?
yes, Buns.
So I wasn't a male stripper, so that's not where you're going, Erika. I know
Okay.
what you're thinking.
I was just curious. I was like, do you have a career I didn't know about?
No, this was started many years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Before I was 5.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah. He had difficulty holding his diaper up.
Oh.
He had little buns.
Oh, poor.
Little Buns.
You needed
Little
like suspenders for your
buns.
diaper.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
Steve Urkel before Steve Urkel was around.
Well, we're gonna have to hold this up with these
Did I
diaper
do that?
suspenders.
It would have gave new meaning to Huggies.
Oh yeah. Does your kid have a flat butt? These are the diapers for him.
Yeah, so I just recently started getting a butt because of my new jeans that I got from
Yeah. From the buckle.
from the buckle from lunch break Sally,
Oh,
nonetheless.
geez.
But so I've it's very well documented that I have the no acetol disease,
Yeah.
and so my mom decided at an early age that she would name me Buns,
Buns.
Did you call him that a lot when he was little?
and
Yes.
every
Yes.
freaking card until I became like 38.
Oh, dear.
And then I was like, all right,
Buns.
Mom,
Dear
that's
Buns.
enough. Yeah, that's how every card started.
Dear Buns.
Dear Buns, happy birthday. Dear Buns. Like, until I was like 38, it finally stopped because I was like, all right, Mom, you got to stop with the bun shit.
Aw, I think it's great.
So the next topic we have with Meatloaf Mom is fitting because we're going to talk about go-to meals as a single mom raising kids. So therefore, I don't have to do much talking except for agreeing with some of the things that are about to be said.
Well, the only thing I can say is I could have supported 88 farms in those days, truly.
You were like,
as
hamburger
Meatloaf-
patties on sale.
Meatloaf Mom, yes. We ate a lot of hamburger.
Yeah.
A lot of hamburger.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you'd have meatloaf and gravy, you'd have potatoes and gravy, you'd have biscuits and gravy, you'd have bread and gravy, you'd have rice and gravy.
We can't say gravy too many times at this house. You know he's skinny Chad now. He might have
Oh, yeah, we
convulsions
can't-
over there.
You know what we're having
Can't have
after
him
we get
had
done with this
withdrawals.
podcast?
Yeah.
We're having gravy.
Just gravy in a cup.
And also mac and cheese. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
who doesn't like
Yeah.
chili mac?
Oh, yeah.
I honestly don't think I've had it since then.
How
Yeah.
about goulash?
Yeah.
Come on, you guys. I know you've
So-
all. How many of you still eat goulash?
So I will tell you.
We've actually had it. I've actually splurged and made it one
Yeah.
day, but it's Hamburger Helper makes it easy for us.
Well, so I am not a good cook. You know that. I mean, I've been married to him long enough. Nobody's coming to my house and was like, oh my gosh, I wonder what Erika's whipped up for us. But same when I was single, like I'd get home from work at 6 o'clock at night. And then I'm like, all right, I've got 6 ingredients. What can I make? We ate a lot of hamburger too. I can tell you, Harrison, the second he was old enough to cook, that kid can make spaghetti. In fact, every time he house sat for us and Thomas was here, what are you having tonight? We're having spaghetti. And Harrison can whip up any pasta dish that you ask him because we ate a lot of pasta. Chicken Alfredo, stuff like
Sure.
that. But I never had many groceries in my fridge. And not because I didn't go buy.
She doesn't. No, it's exactly the reason why.
Well-
You do. We've been. Not only have you not cooked in 5 years,
Yeah.
you have not went to the store without me in 5 years.
I don't like to go to the grocery store. I just don't. And have you seen the meme or the picture that says who knew being a mom I'd be responsible for what everyone needed to eat for the rest of my life?
Exactly.
Here's
Exactly.
your brand new baby. Now feed it forever. And so like I think you do convenience stuff unless you are really like whip it up cook that can meal prep and stuff. I was not that person.
Erika had kids just so she could have a family tradition of somebody making her a meal.
When
Here, make this meal for me because I don't want to make it.
we always had, and I'll tell you, so my friend's kids came to my house one time, and my friend's kids had always had lots of yogurt in their fridge, and I had pudding cups in my fridge, and her son goes, "Hey, Mom, when we leave, Erica had black yogurt at her house, and it was really good. Can we get some black yogurt at the grocery store next time?" And Maggie goes, "Erica doesn't eat yogurt, it's pudding." And I was like, so sorry, so sorry. So their kids still to this day say, "Remember we came to your house and had black yogurt?" I'm like, no.
Yeah, it might be yogurt today. In
Yeah.
the 70s, it was applesauce.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I do like applesauce.
Every meal.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. It was like Grandpa's was always applesauce and Wonder Bread.
Yeah.
And so, but yes, applesauce was definitely so. Like we do that. We do like a main dish with a side,
Yeah.
and sometimes we'll put another side on it with like a vegetable or fruit, another vegetable or fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll throw peaches on there every once in a while.
Mhm.
I've only put applesauce on the
Yeah.
junk menu
Yeah.
like a handful of times.
How
Yeah.
many times do y'all eat leftovers?
Well, I eat them a lot.
Well, before I was with Erika, I didn't eat them ever. My dad didn't eat them either.
Isn't it funny though that as a child it's like, I'm not gonna eat that. It didn't look good. That's leftovers. No.
Yep.
You get to be in the 40s. It's like,
Yeah. I'll
give
take
it
this.
to me.
I'll take this to work. This is
Yes.
my lunch.
Well, when
This-
you're a kid, you're like, you hear your friends going, "Are you guys bored? Like,
Mhm.
hey, you guys want to come over and spend the night? Yeah. What do you have to eat? Leftovers? Are you guys bored? Like,
Yes.
yeah,
yes,
we are. We're definitely poor.
Yeah.
We're
Mine's on the
definitely-
menu. Meatloaf,
Yeah.
Yeah.
My parents,
mac and
my
cheese,
parents made a
Salmon
lot of-
patties.
My
Salmon
parents made a
patties.
lot of casseroles
and applesauce.
Yeah.
Yep.
My parents.
So
made a
that
lot of
was
casseroles.
for sure like your go-to as far as I can recall, because even as an adult, I made fun of you and stovetop, like stovetop, salmon patties, and meatloaf. Like I hated eating all that shit until I got to like my 30s, mid 30s. Then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go back to it and see what it was like. I didn't eat it from like the time I moved out to like my mid 30s because I've had it so much that I told myself I'd never eat it again.
And this is the guy that just lost 20 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did he always hate vegetables though, Linda?
Yes.
You always had to force him to eat vegetables?
Yes.
That's so crazy to me because, like, at my house, we would have been in trouble if we didn't eat
So-
vegetables.
His arm was actually, his right arm was actually longer than his left arm because he was feeding the dog with his right
No,
arm.
it's because
while
of
he
the
was
bike
eating.
accident. It was because of the bike accident.
Yeah.
It's
right.
it's true to this day.
Yeah.
See, look, I can show you.
He- Watch him.
Yeah.
So-
He's feeding sheep with his right
Yeah,
arm while
yeah.
he's no.
Yeah,
No,
so
it's true.
and I would guess being that the little bit of stubbornness that he has, I would bet if you said you sit here until this is done, that he'd still be sitting at whatever table you had right now waiting you out.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that didn't
So-
work with him, huh?
No.
That was also discussed in a previous podcast. So even to this day, my dad is the same way. I guess his mom did the same thing. Mom would say, "You're gonna sit there until you eat that whole plate." And I even did it with my son, and my son always turned his head to the side, and he was like, he's like,
Yeah.
But I would sit at the table, and I would just be like, not doing it. Like, what are you gonna do? Make me stay up late? You're gonna go to bed. Like, I'm gonna go to. You're gonna make me go to bed. So I would just sit there and wait her out because I didn't want to do anything. There was nothing good on TV anyway.
Well, yeah, because then you would whatever you were watching. I mean, there
Well,
was no
my mom was trying to be cool mom, and with what she had going on, which at the time as a kid you don't know, right?
Yeah.
But mom was trying to be cool mom because I'll never in my life, as long as I live, hopefully before I'm dead and gone, I'll never in my life forget the day she brought Cablevision TV into the house because that was a life-changing experience.
Nintendo went in the closet.
What
No,
is cable?
my dad bought the Nintendo, which
Oh,
you hated.
What is Cablevision?
Cablevision was what we call cable TV.
Oh,
It was Cablevision back then, and Mom
Oh.
got cable, and I'll never forget it because it was hooked to the tube television that we had,
Yeah.
and there was a cord that went all the way across the living room, and it had one of those zip controllers on it. You know what I'm talking about?
Uh huh.
And so I'll never forget because we got it right around Christmas time. So like we were balling right then. We got it. Not only did we get cable, we got it during Christmas.
Oh.
So like I'll never forget because then you're supposed to believe in all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I stayed up all night just zipping through channels like one at a time.
If it was nowadays and that was something like brand new, you would have like TikToked yourself or been like, "Look what we got!" Hashtag inviting your friends
Yeah.
over.
Absolutely.
Poor people, look at me
Yeah.
zipping through cable.
So was that a big? Do you remember that being a big expense or like something that you were
it was
like?
special.
Yeah.
It was special.
Yeah.
Yes.
And something you knew that when you brought that home, that there were
Yes.
some happy kids on the other side of the door.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that's really, I think being a single parent too, like we've all done the single parenting thing, and you make those splurges. And it's probably funny to hear him sit and listen to at 46 years old.
Absolutely.
Remember one special little purchase you made, and
That's
I think
true.
that's interesting that you plan these trips or whatever, like you see families go on big trips or whatever.
Nope. Just
But-
remember cable.
But what I'm saying though is it doesn't have to be something as grand as that. It can be
Exactly.
something as simple as
Very simple.
cable TV that now he may not be able to tell you that you took him to Branson or whatever.
No, but I
Exactly.
know as an adult that wasn't an easy purchase to have
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
obviously it's new, so it's pretty expensive, I'm
Yeah.
sure, during
Yeah.
that time. But as a kid, you were like, hell yeah, we got cable. Come on over. You want to watch MTV?
Yeah.
And we're gonna watch music videos. We're gonna watch the Headbangers Ball or Yo MTV Raps.
Yeah. Yeah. And you probably went to school, told your friends.
I did.
Yeah.
Guess what we got?
Yeah. Now he did tell me like a funny story about you guys' basement. So you have to share the basement story, the going and the painting.
So
the
yeah,
basement.
so my mom,
Oh.
she's a traveling queen, and so she went out with one of her friends. I believe it was Mary Alice. She decided to go to Memphis to go see Graceland because my mom is a huge Elvis fan, kind of like I am with Eric Church and Lainey Wilson, and Erika is with Taylor Swift. But mom's a huge Elvis fan, which we got her Elvis tickets for her birthday. It's not the same Elvis.
He's not the same Elvis.
It might
Not for her
be.
birthday, for
It might
Mother's
be.
Day.
We don't know that.
Mother's Day, early Mother's
Yes,
Day.
Yeah.
but mom's a huge Elvis fan, so she came home from Memphis, and I was in like 6th grade or 5th grade.
It
when
was
happened.
actually the 10th year of the 10th anniversary of Elvis's death.
She knows.
Yeah, and she came home and she decided, she goes, Chad, our basement was just like your typical basement. It had the wooden panel, up and down. And
Yeah.
mom's like, you know what? I'm really tired of this wooden panel. We are going to paint this just like Elvis's game room.
True story.
So what does Elvis's game room look like? What colors was Elvis's game room?
His game room was bright yellow
Oh.
and royal blue.
Two-tone.
Oh.
So
Two-tone.
it was blue at the top and then yellow at the bottom.
Yes. And it had mirrors on the ceiling.
We did not put mirrors on the ceiling because that's
No.
creepy.
We had drop tile ceiling.
Yeah.
But we did. True story. Came home. I painted the walls royal blue
Yeah.
and bright yellow.
That's fun though.
And then she put yellowish carpet down. I won't say yellow. It was like a beigeish yellow
Very light.
down.
Yes.
And so when you come down from this dark tunnel from our basement, you go down this dark tunnel of stairs, you take this hard right, and it's like, oh, and you see,
Did you love it down there?
you see,
I loved
you
it.
see
Yeah.
Elvis canisters that have never been drank. You see albums everywhere.
Pictures. Yes.
So you put all so looking around at your son's basement here with all of his memorabilia around.
Yeah, hey,
It's-
pot, calling the kettle black
Yeah.
over here.
Yes.
Yeah.
He comes by it honestly.
Yeah. So
Yes.
you two,
Yes.
so you come from our very plain upstairs and you walk down and
Yes.
same thing.
Yes. Yes.
I would actually say I'm probably more extreme than the Elvis room.
Yes.
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 But
Yeah.
I think that she had less stuff that was worth more, and I have a bunch of stuff that was worth less.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, he told me that when we very first got together, we were talking about something. He's like, "Oh yeah, my mom, she loves Elvis." And so with him being at the new dinner theater, I was like,
Yes.
"Let's go.
Can't
We're
wait.
going to have a good
Yes.
time. We'll
Yes.
talk about it on one of our podcasts."
Yes. Yes.
But that's cool. It's fun to listen to you guys talk about things. I mean, obviously I wasn't around when he was younger, and so anytime I get a little layer of the onion that I get to know about, like I had no idea about your elbow. So
You had no idea about Cablevision either.
I did not.
Mom
so-
didn't even realize how much I appreciated Cablevision.
Until
No.
But
right
you know
now,
what
probably.
else? She mentioned this. She's like, the Nintendo was in the closet. We all knew where the Nintendo was. Like, Mom would go to work. We would
Yeah.
we would
now
go to
the truth
we
comes
would
out.
go to the
Yeah.
closet. We would
Yeah.
get the Nintendo out. We would set it up. As soon as the garage door started going up, you unplug it, you put it back in the closet, and she comes walking in, and you're like, "What are you doing?" And you're like, "Watching Cops." Like,
Why are you guys sweating?
why are you guys sweating? We're just sitting there and watching Cops, Mom.
So you guys are like, so now that Chief isn't supposed to get on this couch, and when we leave, we know he gets right up on there.
He does.
But when we come
Sure.
home, he hears the garage now, and he comes and stands and greets us at
Yeah,
the door.
he's like, I wasn't sitting on the
"Hey
couch.
guys,
Oh
hey,
no, I was good.
yeah, I wasn't playing on the Nintendo."
No.
So the next
no.
thing and last thing we have, because we are already over our 45,
Oh.
but you know what? It's a special episode, and we
That's
don't
right.
give a damn.
Right.
Is how things have changed over the years and become the new normal. And I this could last forever, but I have a few things. Erika, I'm sure, has a few things, and you have a few things. So
Go ahead.
so one of the things that has changed over the years that has became the new normal is, I was around when the internet was first invented, right?
Mhm.
And texting was invented. And so, like, I remember with my Nokia phone, when I first got my Nokia phone, or when even before that, let's circle back. Like, we had bag phones that
Yes.
that
Yes.
you would carry
Same.
around in your car, and
Yes.
only for emergencies, only because it was so expensive to make outbound calls.
Absolutely.
And now that's the new normal. As a matter of fact, we have Ryan Reynolds like preaching that you're only going to pay $20, and he's not spending any money on advertising in order to give you such a great discount. And so I kind of reflect back on like my generation, because your generation, I think, is probably the last of what I would call the greatest generation of
I
all
agree.
time.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Grandpa's generation is probably just in front of that, but and I'm sure other generations will say the same thing about themselves whenever they get to this point. But I mean, that at the time I didn't like Leonard Skinner, and now I think he's one of the greatest bands ever. But but it's I look at that and kind of like, when the phones started coming out, then the Nokia phones came
Mhm.
out, and you were hitting the button 3 times to type the letter C
Mhm.
in order to text. And now we've kind of moved into keyboard texting, and then we move into social media, and now to kind of see how it's come from you know what it's been to what it is now, and have my mom sending me emojis, and that's my new normal, and sending me gifts is my new normal. I'm kind of weirded out by it, I'm not gonna lie. Like, my mom sending me like gifts is not something I ever expected to ever endure throughout my lifetime.
It is kind of funny though when our parents start like sending it. Like my mom recently started sending me reels on Facebook, and I was like,
Oh wow.
"How do you? What is happening right now?"
Oh,
Yeah, and then
yes.
it's kind of like a group text. They just keep coming. Like, every
Yeah.
video they think's funny is now all of a
Yeah.
sudden you're
Yeah.
it's in your inbox.
You know what I've been told is that the 40 sums use 3 emojis to sign their text. That
Really?
we
Mine's
are-
always the laughing one because I'm always trying to pretend like I'm laughing or I'm always really laughing.
But we are the generation that doesn't just send one emoji at the end of a text. We're going to send it 3 times, or we're going to send a combination to make 3. And so I started looking back through my text, and I do that. I am the 3 emoji person. And I never like sending an emoji. I mean, remember when you did the colon and the little
Oh,
bracket?
yeah.
You made
Yes.
the sideways happy face?
Yes.
Well, my mom is the queen of the thumbs up.
Yeah.
So when she first started doing the thumbs up, I was like, she's like blowing me off. Like she thumbs up. She doesn't care. But now it's kind of like,
Now we know. Yeah.
got it, good.
Got it.
Yep.
Got it.
So, but yeah. So when you started doing it at first, I was kind of like, my mom's kind of an asshole. Like she just giving me a thumbs up just to be rude.
No.
That's what he does. That's why he's saying that.
But-
He's
so there-
got-
He didn't
I'm
get
not
it
gonna
from-
lie, I
he
kinda
didn't get it
took-
from mom.
No.
I kind of took what I thought you were doing and ran with it and
Yeah.
did it myself.
Yeah, it is. And you know, like I remember too, like my grandparents even would call me, like they would leave messages on my parents' answering machine.
Yes.
You know, and the answering machine was a big deal. What your answering machine said about you really was what people thought about your household.
And your voicemail.
Oh yeah.
Do you
Your
know
voicemail.
what my answering machine said whenever I actually moved out on my own and got my own answering
Oh
machine?
boy. No.
So I was watching, I don't know what it was, an Adam Sandler movie, and it was the Jump song. You might as well leave a message. Instead of might as well jump,
Okay.
it was might as well leave a message. That was my voicemail,
What is I
my
don't
message
know.
for my answering machine.
I like it. I don't not like it. I mean, I think it's very creative. So good. I like that. Did you have little tapes that you have? Is that saved somewhere? Chad saves some stuff, so he might have the tape saved.
I'm a hoarder. I'm not gonna lie. So like I have like an abundant amount of cables that I'll probably never use.
You need a cable for a camera you bought in 1996.
Yeah, I got you. And so I have
Does
golf.
it come with film?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, my mom's the queen of taking pictures without any film in her camera.
Oh no, Linda. That's funny.
But yeah,
That's one of the things that have changed over the years.
So now you don't need it.
I don't need film.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you can take as many
Yeah.
pictures as you want because they're all on your phone.
Yeah.
Aced it.
Yeah.
Aced it. Yeah, she's moved on. But
Yeah.
I kind of am a hoarder. Like I have things that I'm always like, I'm gonna need this one day.
You're
And
a
then
hoarder of certain types of
certain
things.
things I am.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? And cables is just one of those things. Like Erica's not lying. If you need something to a 1992 printer,
Oh yeah.
I got your back.
Yeah, come to our house. We've got it. We probably got 2 even.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah,
The original Macintosh, I probably got you.
I've never seen so many cords. We had to buy another container for all of his old cords. And I was like, we filled up one. Now we have another. Is there some cords? And I was like, can we part with you? He goes, absolutely not.
No, absolutely not.
I was just like, well,
There's
we'll
gonna be-
bury these next to you
There's
then.
going to be a time that some guy is going to need an Apple cord for his old Macintosh or Commodore computer or an
No,
Atari.
there's not, Linda.
He's going to need one for his
Definitely not.
Atari, and I'm going to have his back.
For his cable vision.
Yeah.
He's going to need a cord for his
Exactly.
cable vision.
So that's how things have changed over the years. What do you have, Mom?
My main thing is no film needed for the cameras anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know that firsthand.
Yeah, because between you and my sister, you guys have closets full of picture albums, and
Yes.
now you're going to ask me to scan them all in,
Yes.
so that way you can make them digital.
Yes.
Yes,
You took the words right out of my
I-
mouth, Chad.
I
She's
know.
like, that's what I'm
Thank
actually
you for
here for.
volunteering.
Yeah. You look, you're on the podcast. You get something out of it. If you ask him on the podcast, then he can't say no to
Remember
you.
that one time when
This
you
is
said,
proof.
Yeah, yeah.
"Yeah, but you and my sister, you guys have albums and albums and albums, and you guys have always said like, if anything ever happened to my house, I'd like be devastated if my house caught on fire and I didn't get those albums out."
Yeah.
Well, now you don't have that problem as long as you get them scanned in. But
yeah.
And
but
you're going to do that for me, so I'm not worried about it now.
It's not. It's
yeah,
a little
I think
project.
I think your other son is way more intelligent than I am. He has a lot more time on his hands than I do.
Oh, okay.
You have grandkids that can do that stuff for you now as well.
And-
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
which is like the other thing. So like, you know, my kids or our kids, your grandkids, whatever, they're a lot more intelligent about what's going on right now than we are. And I'm sure it was kind of that way for us with you and then you and your parents. But, you know, it's something that I never really think about. Like, you know, like I mean, I am old, but I wasn't in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. But like how things change and like, were you like, Mom, like, get it together? This is new. You need to catch up. I mean,
Um, I do see that with my grandchildren, uh, and decisions that they make, and decisions that I made as a child. It seems like they're more mature than I was. Um, but the thing that I just tell them is, when you get ready to make a decision, give it some thought. And there's only two questions to ask: what's the consequences if I make this decision? Are there any consequences if I make this other decision? And if you're not able or willing to pay the consequences for the worst decision, it's probably not a good decision.
which is kind of how
drop some truth
she's
bomb on
dropping-
us right
she's
now.
dropping bombs.
Woo!
I can do that with the grandkids. I couldn't do that with the real kids. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But
Too
I
close.
They'll just kind of blow you off.
Too
That-
close to the source.
But
that-
when you're Nana, they'll kind of listen.
that kind of goes back to lessons I learned the hard way. You know, I actually worked for an NBA basketball coach that was a good basketball coach. He played in college and played in the pros. And one of the things he did when he took me under his wing, and he spent a lot of time and a lot of money with me, and I give him the credit for who I am today, because he came to me and he said, Chad, and I was going through a very bad time. I was going through child custody and divorce and all this stuff, and I was in a very bad spot in my life. And he said, Chad, you're always supposed to have a plan, right? And plan A is not going to be your best plan all the time. So he goes, plan B needs to always be better than plan A. And that's kind of how I look at life. Like, plan A works, great, you know, like, good, as a slam dunk, no problems. But plan B is always supposed to be better than plan A. And just like she said, you know, you have to face the consequences.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the same mentality that he instilled in me. And unfortunately, even though that you probably spoke the gospel to me, I didn't learn it from you. I had to learn it from somebody else. And that's one of the things that I had to learn the hard way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. It is crazy though. You give your kids a lot of advice over the years, and then somebody else comes in and tells them, and they're
Says
like,
the same damn thing.
"Yep," and they're like, "Well, you know, I heard it from blah blah blah," and you're like, "No, you heard it from me.
I heard it from David Spade's podcast.
Yeah, whatever."
So, anyway, that's all we have for this episode. We want to give a big shout out to our special guest, Meatloaf Mom.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Linda.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure, believe me.
And we hope that you just made our ratings spike up even higher.
You made a lot of friends on your wintering, right? Down there, your snowbirding.
Absolutely.
So she's out there. She's marketing for us like you wouldn't believe.
Well, she brought back gifts from from her travels.
Yeah.
I was kind of worried a little bit because she brought back beads. And you know what? You know what? When a woman brings you a bunch of beads, what you had to do to get those beads?
Buy them.
And
I had to buy them.
And I was really worried what my mom had to do to get those beads. But nonetheless, we appreciate you guys listening. We appreciate Meatloaf Mom coming on for episode 10. We hope that everybody enjoyed the show, and we will catch you next time.
Bye from Meatloaf Mom.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode of Middle Age Moments. Visit middleagemoments.com for previous and future episodes. Until next time.